In this lesson, we will cover reviewing systems in the system browser and adjusting settings to review system information. In this project, a few duct systems have been created and a few piping systems have been created. At this stage of the project, when you are laying out equipment and creating systems, the system browser is a great way to track the systems that have been created. It's also a great way to review system information. To open the system browser, switch to the View ribbon, and then in the Windows panel, expand User Interface and select System Browser. This opens the system browser, which is docked to the right of the screen by default. To begin, you can expand the drop-down at the top to choose what the system browser is showing. You can select Systems, Zones, or Analytical Systems. For this lesson, we're going to focus on Systems. You can then filter the systems by discipline. In this case, I'll leave it set to all disciplines, and we'll take a look at the system browser. Every connector that is in the project is going to appear in the system browser. And so connectors are placed on components, either equipment or air terminals or several things. And those are all going to appear here. And so there's an unassigned branch, and you can see that there are 218 items. And so that's where most of these connectors are going to appear right now, because we're just beginning to create systems. And when you expand those, you can start to see those individual connectors. You can see that some are on equipment, some are on return air terminals, some are on supply, exhaust, so on and so forth. And so to begin, you can see the unassigned connectors. What we're more concerned about right now are the systems that we've actually created. When I expand mechanical, you can see a supply air branch, and when I expand piping, you can see two branches, condenser water supply and condenser water return. I'll expand these a bit so we can see better. So when you expand a discipline, you're going to see system types. So these are the system types that have been created in the project that we actually have systems for. And then when I expand supply air, you can actually see mechanical equipment listings. And when I expand the equipment branches, you can see actual supply air system names. Now it's slightly different on the piping side. When I expand a type, you can see the system names. And so the reason is because for the supply air systems, mechanical equipment has been selected. So when you create the system, select equipment, and the mechanical equipment was chosen. That has not been done for the piping systems. And so when that's the case, that's the difference that you're going to see here in the system browser. You will not see a branch for the equipment. Now, when we want to review individual systems, we can use this tool right here called Auto Fit All Columns, and I'll do that so we can see these names and parameters a little bit better. And so I will expand SA1, which is Supply Air System 1, and you can see supply diffusers, you can see the flow and the size, which is the neck size. And if I expand this a bit more, you can see the space name and the space number that those air terminals reside in, or that they are serving. And then as we move up, you can see the total flow for the system. And so that's a great way to track the air terminals that are on the system, the flow in each air terminal, and then the total flow in the system. Similarly, if I expand CWR1, which is condenser water return 1, you can see the heat pumps that have been added along with their flow, and then the total flow for the system along with the connector sizes. And so as you can see here, it's a great way to track systems. And then just a couple more things that you probably noticed. When I hover over certain components, such as especially the equipment, you can see other branches highlight. And in this case, when I highlight a water source heat pump, The mechanical, piping, and electrical branches under unassigned are highlighting. This is because there are several other connectors. There are other mechanical, piping, and electrical connectors, and so everywhere that one of the connectors on that equipment, wherever it exists, those branches are highlighting, and so you just be aware of that. You can also select a listing here and right-click, and there are a few options here. So in this case, I selected a water source heat pump. I can delete it, select it, show it, or click Properties, and then see the properties over here in the Properties palette. If I select a system, I can then right-click, and there are a few other options here. So for a piping system, I can select all the members, I can inspect it, I can delete it, once again select it, show it, or view a pipe pressure loss report. And then once again properties, it's just going to show the properties in the properties palette. Supply air systems, very similar. There's not a pressure loss report, but a couple options here. Also, I can divide the system. Lastly, if you want to view additional information, you can click this column settings button, and that's going to open up the column settings dialog. And as I expand each of the branches here, you can see that there are additional parameters that I can add. And so you can see there are several options here. So for example, if I want to view the number of elements, and I'll select static pressure, and let's do system classification. I'll click OK. And now you can see that those parameters have been added, and I'll keep expanding the system browser here, and you can see those parameters in the system browser as well. So in summary, the system browser is a great way to track systems that you have created and also review system information.